You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. How we doing? How we doing? Indiana Fever fall tonight to the LA Sparks. What a game! What a game! It went back and forth. They fall tonight, 100 to 91. The Indiana Fever had a little shock treatment that hit them, and one of the things I could tell you, Stephanie White said she were proud of the ladies. One of the things the Indiana Fever are going to have to do is they're going to have to be able to play defense to be able to compete in the playoffs. And what I want to talk about now is Caitlin Clark. How much better? How much worse? Folks, I'll tell you, you have Caitlin Clark tonight. You got a 9-point deficit. You make that up, and you got an opportunity to win the game. But let's get back to the Indiana Fever's defense, Stephanie White. They're going to have to figure out what's going to happen. When you look at the board, and I look across and I said, okay, what happened with the Indiana Fever tonight? I'll give it to you straight. Indiana Fever came out, played a good quarter, right? They jumped right in at 27-26, bopped over there in the second, fell flat, gave up 28 and only scored 16. Third, they margined out 21-22. They won the fourth, but by then the game was not indicative of the score, 100 to 91. The Fever got beat tonight by about 20, 22 points, and that's flat out across the board. It wasn't anything that the Fever could do. They did everything they could to be a good team, but when you run into a team that's just equipped, now you got to look at the Sparks, and the Sparks are built differently. Lynn Roberts, I'll tell you this, she owns Stephanie White. I'm going to repeat that. Lynn Roberts of the LA Sparks has taken ownership of Stephanie White. We've had our problems before, the Indiana Fever not beating certain teams. You overcome the obstacle of beating the New York Liberty, overcome the obstacle of beating the Aces. You overcome an obstacle of also beating the Minnesota Lynx. But here's the challenge. Can you beat the LA Sparks? I don't know. Sparks come across differently, and here's the second killer. Beyond the defense, you can't have a bench that scores 2 points. I mean, Dantes hit 2 points. Here's the problem with Colson. Colson's got to score, and it's been going on for a minute, right? You got Bibby. Bibby really didn't play, and really foot speed. I don't know where you're going there. You got defensive matchups. You got Michaela Timpson, didn't score. You come in there, Colson goes a minus 17, a minus 17, and you lose the game by 9. Now you're at a disadvantage from the start because you got McDonald and you also got Kelsey Mitchell. So you're losing a lot of size. And what did LA do? The Indiana Fever, I'll tell you, they really didn't play bad. They just didn't play defense. They shot it 44% from the field. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you're shooting it good there. You're 36% from three, a little below the 40%. You go out there and you got 80% from the line, 84%. The problem with that is you run into a buzz saw. What does Money Mike call? I call it a buzz saw. You get the LA Sparks, they're going to shoot 56% from the field. They're going to shoot 50% from the three-point line. They're going to back that thing up, and they're going to go in there, and they're going to get 86, almost 88% from the foul line, right? So, and you got to look at certain players from the bench standpoint. The Indiana Fever gets 0 points from the bench, but you get 10 points from the LA Sparks bench, right? Because you got Ray Burrell's got in there, got 7. You got Van Loo's got you 3. But here's the difference: you get someone like Brink who doesn't score, and she's a plus 12, right? That's huge. You come back, Van Loo's plus 2. You got Burrell's plus 14, and then you got Barker who only played 4 minutes minus 5, right? But you go to the Fever bench. And you get in there, you got Dantas minus 6, you got Bibby's minus 7, you got Timpson minus 4. You got Colson's, I mean, it's minus 17. You got Lexus Hole minus 4. Right? So they went in there and they played good defense because you lost 100 to 91. So you got some of the bench. The bench has got to score. And you got to design that. You got an opportunity to run a different set or a change of pace offense with the reserves. But until the Fever play defense above the 3-point line, and I'll call it as I see it. Howard, Natasha Howard's a great player, but Natasha Howard takes a lot of plays off on defense. Very, very obvious. A lot of plays. And when you're allowing an offense to execute without any ball pressure and you're running late on the closeouts, man, oh man, that's killing the Fever. And that defensive rotation is killing the Fever. and it's just missing assignments. How do you improve that? I don't know how to improve that because Stephanie White's got to be able to teach man to man and teach the rotations. But it's a game of committee by the Indiana Fever. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. All things are possible to those who believe. We're coming to you, and we want to give it to you straight laced to tell you the Indiana Fever offense. You got 90 points. That's about where you get it. Defense, you gave up 100. When you start giving up 100, and it could have been more, the Indiana Fever made a late run with a particular lineup that got them back in the game. But the concern I have is you get a player like Cunningham comes out the gate hotter than a firecracker, and then Cunningham doesn't score for the rest of the game. That you got to be aware of these things because what caused the Indiana Fever to lose? One, the Indiana Fever did not play defense. Two, the Indiana Fever did not score. And three, the Indiana Fever did not execute the proper or implement the proper game plan to play against the LA Sparks. And that's my honest opinion. Stephanie White, you're gonna have to go back because you can't beat the Liberty, you can't beat the Sparks, and you gotta beat the Lynx, who just added DJ Carrington. So we're leveling this down. You got up to number 3 in the power ranking, but then you get a team that's lower in the power ranking. They drop you right on back down. Folks, we'll get into it deeper. I'll go and I'll give you some follow-ups on each individual, but this one here, uh, it snaps a 5-game losing streak or winning streak, excuse me, and you got to start all over again. And that's part of the game. But the Fever take a loss, 100-91. Again, you're giving up 100. They got to retool, but the Fever have tired legs. Let's keep that in mind. They're going to be exhausted coming out of this road trip, and they play a lot of games at home, but you know what that means? That means you got to turn around and play a lot of games on the road. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. We want to thank you for tuning in. Indiana Fever fall 191, snap the 5-game winning streak. Stephanie White says, I'm proud of my team. All things are possible to those who believe, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. You stay tuned.